now joining us, and he's doing so, by the way, between training sessions, no less. 5 days out from his fight at UFC 287 against Joe Pyfer. He is GM3, Gerald Meerschaert. Pretty handsome dude centered up there today. GM3, it's good to see you, man. How you doing?
Hey, good to see you guys. I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We are doing well. Good. So we appreciate your time. Pretty nice layoff since your last fight. I don't know if that was by design, but the win over Bruno Silva back on August 13th of last year. So not necessarily your norm to have 8 months between fights. How has that been for you?
Not great, not bad either. I was supposed to fight in February. Something happened with the opponent just not being able to do it, and that's kind of what led to this fight. So it's, I like to be more active usually, but it's also not bad to, give your body a break sometimes.
Looks like we just lost visual on Gerald. There he is. So you're in Florida right now, and then after the fight, you're going to go back to Wisconsin and then move to Florida full time. Is that right? Oh, I think you're muted, Gerald, after we got that dip. Sorry. By the way, you notice my Wisconsin hat? I know you noticed that. You notice that's for you. That's a cheese. Nice. That's cheese on my hat, and it says Wisconsin, so that's for you.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's the plan right now. So my, it'll probably be my last little stretch here of fighting. I want to make it best I can, and, not a bad thing either to get away from all the snow all the time. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, man. So what prompted that move?
It's just hard to be away from the family and do training camps, just financially. And I got a young guy, a little son at home, and it would just be a lot. If I fought 3 times a year, I'd essentially be gone for half the year in a training camp. And that's,
wow.
Active I like to stay in. Like, it takes that much to have, the correct amount of time dedicated to be fully prepared for a UFC fight. So, it was just, I'm at a place in my career where financially I'm able to do that. And like, why not make the last stretch the best stretch and, just go all in.
That's awesome, man. That must be tough. Gerald, Jon and I were discussing your record off air, and it's crazy to talk about because, you're 35-15. First of all, a ton of experience. All 35 wins are by finish, either mostly submissions. You got TKOs in there. Obviously, that's got to be a part of your strategy, but how do you prepare for that in training to have that type of end game where when you get to your spots, you're going to get that finish?
Yeah, I think just to be clear, I think I have 2 decision wins, maybe.
Okay, 2. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be claiming something that I don't have.
Hey, but that's damn close, dude. 33. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, no, I think anytime I'm training, obviously, you never try to like knock out your partners, but maybe that's why I have so many finishes. You can submit them. You can do it safely. Right. And I do have some knockouts too in TKOs. And that's the thing where it's not just like, oh, I'm throwing and I hope I hit them more than they hit me, or I'm going to get a good position and maybe something will work out. It's like I have a direct path in any given situation where I know if I get you to this spot, this is going to be what finishes the fight. And if the striking doesn't finish it, it's going to make you give me something where I'm going to be able to find a submission. And especially in MMA, guys have gotten a lot better about like not sticking their limbs out for no reason trying to defend strikes. So that leads me more to chokes. If I get to these spots and I see your neck open, I'm going to take it.
Do you know when your last decision win was, by the way?
Long time.
July 19th, 2013.
Oh, my God.
So almost 10 years ago in Duluth, Georgia versus now famed nutritionist George Lockhart.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. That was a fun, tough fight. And that was another one too, right? We both rocked each other a couple times and had chances to finish, but yeah, that's just a hard guy to put away.
Gerald Meerschaert with us here on the Anik and Florian podcast. So Kill Cliff FC is the roof under which you train. What can you tell us about the South Florida training and who are the primary bodies and coaches that you've been leaning on?
It's a great gym. Obviously, it's good enough to make me move there.
Yeah.
All the guys, they have so many big guys, especially compared to, a lot of other gyms in general. Yeah, I've been working a lot with Angla, and for coaches, Greg Jones is always running a lot of grappling practices. Been hitting a lot with Jason Strout and Henry Hooft, obviously. And, there's just a wealth of knowledge and like bigger bodies there for me to go with. And it's just, I feel like it's made all the difference.
Gerald Meerschaert, 4-1 with 4 finishes since the fight with Khamzat Chimaev back in 2020. And anyone who has watched Bilal Muhammad's Remember the Show has heard how good you are analytically when you're talking about mixed martial arts. I'd imagine a student of the game like yourself would know at this point that Dustin Stoltzfus is a common opponent for you and Joe Pyfer. Any thoughts on that angle and ultimately the fight in front of you here in a few short days?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably some stuff I can take away from it. I feel like he's going to be a little bit different than he was when he fought Dustin, only because now he's got a couple wins under his belt. He's been in the UFC. He's getting a little more comfortable. So there's going to be a little bit of that rub on him too. But there's also spots where, Dustin's got slicker grappling than I think he gets credit for. And even some of the times, like he reversed off bottom and, came up for the takedown and all that stuff. There's, certain things you can't change that dramatically, even though it was a couple of years ago in that short amount of time, that's going to show itself in a fight.
Right.
So it helps in that way. But on the same hand, nothing really matters till you get in there and you see what's going on because, I have limited film on him, but I have more experience and he's got a lot of film on me. So, it doesn't really matter until we get in there and mix it up.
All right, I got a few rapid fire questions with you on the way out. I know you keep your private life pretty private if your Instagram is any indication, but you are a father. Is his name Bronx Meerschaert?
Yes, sir.
I mean, what a fucking power name that is. We've been pronouncing your name correctly from the moment we started calling your fights, but there are still people who drop a Meerschaert. Now, my name gets completely butchered, but I'm not a professional athlete, so I don't much care. To what extent do you care about people calling you Gerald Meerschaert versus Gerald Meerschaert?
Not that much. If you get close, I'm used to it by now, but who's messing up Jon Anik?
Well, the most common one I get is Anik at the airport. It's always Mr. Anik, but I think it sounds more sophisticated. So I say, yes, I am Mr. Anik.
I was that little extra bit of tan and the dark beard, and they're like, a little fight.
There you go. So how old is Bronx and how has that whole navigation been for you as a father/athlete?
He's going to be 2 pretty shortly here. And it's been great. It definitely keeps me busy. I'm sure I burn more calories during the day when I'm home, just running around chasing him and making sure he doesn't like destroy the house. But it's all good things.
That's great. Well, the only thing I would recommend, and again, I shouldn't recommend it because I don't necessarily know your family situation nor your wife, but if you have a second one, it's easier to raise 2 than 1, I have found, than it is to raise 1. All right. So you'll be 36 years of age on December 18th. Saturday is going to be your 51st professional MMA fight. Now, I've heard you reference this as being the end. So, I mean, do you put it at 2, 3, 4 more fights? I mean, what does the end mean in your mind?
Oh, no, not the end. I mean, I'm just on like the last stretch. I feel like as healthy as I've been, knock on wood through my entire career, I got another 4 or 5 good years left in me.
All right, good.
So, yeah, I on the big scale, like I've been fighting for 15, 16 years. I'm on the tail end of that.
Okay, all right. That makes me feel a little bit better because you mentioned it twice early on, and candidly, the way I had the question today was over under 60 MMA fights before you retire. And I think now, if you look at the next 4 or 5 years, I think it's realistic for you to get to 60. But I tweaked the question because I didn't want to, throw some outrageous number out there. But it sounds to me like you could get to 60.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Just got to make quick work of Joe Pyfer this weekend.